Today you are going to learn another way to solve proportions. Before we get to that step, let's just take a look at these proportions. So somebody once was just having a really fun time looking for extra math to do. And they were looking at proportions. And they noticed if they multiplied going across in each direction, let's say they multiplied this way, they'd get 4. And then the other way, 1 times 4 is also 4. For this next proportion, 9 times 2 is 18. 6 times 3 is also 18. So if you multiply diagonally across, you will get the same product. That's pretty cool. All right, so if we take a peek at these proportions, let's try to figure out if they're proportional. 3 times 8, that's 24. And 2 times 12 is also 24. So yes, that's a proportion. 3 times 20 is 60. And 15 times 4, yep, that's also 60. So that's a proportion. 25 times 3, or 3/4, that's 75. And 23 times 5, let's say I couldn't do this in my head, I would just scribble it out on some scratch paper. So that's 15, and then 10 plus 1 more is 115. Ooh, 115 is not the same as 75, so this one is not a proportion. All right, so if we are told that these ones are proportional and we need to solve for x, we can try to use the arrows. But let's say if we start at the number 4, 4 times nothing is 10. Well, technically it's times a decimal, but we don't want it times by decimals, so we can use cross products to solve this. 4 times 15 is 60. 10 times x is 10x. So that means 10 times some number has to be equal to 60. Ooh, this is like solving one-step equations, so you might be able to figure out the answer in your head. Or because that shows multiplication, the inverse is division, and you can divide both sides by 10. So x is equal to 6. All right, so for the next one here, 9 times 4 is 36. 6 times x is 6x. Those have to be equal to each other for this to be a proportion. So 6 times some number is equal to 36. You might be able to guess it, but if not, you can use the inverse of multiplication, which is division, and divide both sides by 6. 1x is the same as x, and then 36 divided by 6 is 6. So x, or the missing number, is 6. All right, 8 times 25. Let's think of quarters. If we have 8 quarters, that's $2, so 200 cents. And if I multiply this way, I get 10x. So 10 times some number is 200. Ooh, that was a sloppy 2. So you might be able to figure this out in your head. Otherwise, you're going to do the inverse of multiplication, which is division. Divide both sides by 10. 10 divided by 10 is 1. 1x is the same as x. And 200 divided by 10, that would be 20. Right, here's a few more. So 2 times 2 is 4. X times 4 is 4x. So 4 times some number is 4. That one's pretty easy to do in our heads. So that one's 1. 9 times 2 is 18. 6 times x is 6x. So 6 times some number is 18. 6, 12, 18. X is 3. 10 times 4 is 40. X times 5 is 5x. And again, those have to be the same for this to be a proportion. So 5 times some number is equal to 40. So x is 8. Let's do one final one together because this one has a silly answer. So for this middle one here, if I did 15 times 1, I get 15. 6 times x is 6x. So 6 times some number is 15. And you're probably thinking, that's not possible. Well, it's okay if our answers are not an integer. So we would divide both sides by 6. 6 divided by 6 is 1. 1x is the same as a x. And then we could use a calculator. Whoa! Not sure how that happened. 15 divided by 6. In your calculator, you will get 2.5 or 2.5. So it's okay if you have decimal answers today.